Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Welcome aboard, Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes from Atascocita, Kingwood. Welcome aboard, Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Welcome aboard, Michael Rudnin from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome aboard, of course, Paul. I got Paul already. Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. So the strike has been shut down because they finally coalesced at a good wage for our strikers, with more negotiations to come about automation, etc., etc., etc. For all those who thought the old man couldn't work some magic, apparently he has a hell of an administration that when the plutocracy found out, I am not going to invoke the Taft-Hartley Act. Nope. It's not Taft-Hartley, whatever that is. I'm not going to try to force these guys back to work. You guys are going to have to negotiate, or else you guys going to lose a lot of money. It may hurt the economy, but it'll hurt you guys where you guys hate to be hurt. In the pocketbook, en tu bolsillo, no vas a tener tu boleta. But anyway, folks, so it turned out very, very, very well. All right, let's see. I am not even going. Okay, I'm not going there. I am going to stay centered. I won't allow misinformation to be put out there. Suffice it to say, what I'm going to say, folks, is I think you got a chance to see this was a natural disaster, what we had with this hurricane, and to see how great both the American people, the federal government has come to the rescue, and everybody that needs help, when they can reach it, they get it. We have the Cajun Navy that's doing some great work. I have a friend in the Cajun Navy. It's a volunteer organization that go over wherever there is natural disasters, and they go out there and take care of business. Great stuff that they are doing out there, and a lot of private citizens have decided to drive out there and help. This is a disaster caused by climate change, and we know the people that who don't want to do anything about climate change are complaining now, but they're not accepting that had we handled a lot of stuff in 1979. How many years ago was 1979? Several decades ago, over 40 years or so. We wouldn't be in this situation right now. So, folks, anytime you hear anybody on the right complain about any kind of results on natural disasters caused by climate, immediately disregard them and move forward. All right. Let's continue. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, Marco Rubio called today's jobs number fake numbers. President Biden responded with a chuckle and said, if you notice anything MAGA Republicans don't like, they call it fake. I saw the interview, and in fact, I have a piece of the interview for what we're going to play today. The economy continues to outperform. The stock market continues to outperform. The inflation is down to normal levels, even though Trump created an economic disaster that effectuated that allowed that inflation rate to be instantiated. So again, I think when it comes to accepting blame for inflation, I think one of the biggest mistakes that the Biden campaign made, and now the Harris campaign has made, is not to directly blame Donald Trump for inflation. Had Donald Trump responded to the pandemic differently, we would not have had inflation at all. But again, that's what happens. But he says, Egberto, Willies, my town and 5 around us are packing up 2 tractor trailers tomorrow with donated things to go down there. That's what it is, Breach. People helping people. I haven't donated anything yet, but I have to go ahead and take care of doing some stuff with regards to that. Let's see what else we got here. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow we are going to have a Ask Egberto Anything. Let me go ahead and get that link out there. Remember, it is at. Let me go ahead and pull that up because I don't want to have a penmanship or run out of penmanship, a mistake here. Ask Egberto is. ¿Dónde está mi Ask Egberto anything? Don't forget, tomorrow is Ask Egberto anything. There is a link to sign up. Ask Egberto anything. All right. Undocumented immigrants paid $97 billion in taxes in 2022. They paid a higher state local tax rate than the top 1% in a major majority of states. They contributed $26 billion to Social Security, which they will never get a benefit out of. And remember this the next time undocumented are called freeloaders. Undocumented workers are the furthest away from freeloaders. And that's the thing that gets me so crazy. These guys are the ones that make our economy go through the roof in many instances. But again, you can't expect good information for people who are not critically thinking, right? Critically thinkers, they don't do critical thinking. Anyway. Let's see. RCP, do you think, look, let's say for some reason that RCP averages is correct, where Harris has 257 and Trump has, so far based on where the polls are, 281. The funny thing about that is the following. You can say that and you sit down there and say, if that were the case, democracy in America is no longer plausible. No longer, because again, if election after election, we get a vast majority of people wanting one party, but somehow the other party gets elected, that says there is something wrong with democracy. That says that with the American implementation of democracy, it would definitely mean that we're not a democracy. But again, we never really, we were never a real democracy, right? So let's be clear there. Let's be very clear. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the stuff that you're looking at. Let's just bring out the 538 polls for our good friend who is starting to say, oh, look at what's happening. The simulations at 538 comes out and it says 55 times out of 100, Kamala Harris wins. 45 times out of 100, Trump wins. I tell you what, when we get the output, I can guarantee you that in the long run, we will get a victory for Harris. I have no doubt Harris will be the victor. Let me put that on the screen, what Vri just put there, if I can get it on. I think I can. I think I did. All right, there we go with Vrij's polls here. Says electoral votes, 226 so far for Harris, 188 for Trump. Thank you for giving us the realistic information, my dear sister. And then if we take a look at the states that are in doubt right now, we see Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. So she's likely to win Pennsylvania. She's likely to win Nevada. And she's likely to win, I think she's going to win North Carolina as well. So thank you for that, Vrij MCP. I think she's going to win Wisconsin where she's up, and she's going to win Michigan where she's up right now. I have no doubt about that. So that map looks great for Harris. I would rather be in her position than to be in Donald Trump's position right now. All right, some new people in the house. Peggy Lopez, la preciosa, mi Peggy, ¿cómo estás, corazoncita? Great to have you here. Patrick Magner is here, my brother from the KPFT show in the mornings. Always have something interesting to say, something smart to say, actually. Let's see. Paul Fleming Sr. says, congrats to dock workers. They got 60% pay increase over 6 years. I think it's well deserved. Let's see what else we got here. Para ver. Let's go up here. Paul Fleming says, Senator Warren, big news. 24 states are making it free and easy for you to file your taxes next year. That's right. No more shelling out for TurboTax and HR Block. Americans about 9 hours and $150 just to file your taxes. That's why we fought to make the IRS file a reality. And we need to keep that up. I'm constantly using my paying that's if I do it online, but still I have to use the one that does business and all of that, which is that, you know how that goes. Lee Grant, thank you so kindly. He says, shout out to PDR. Keep free speech alive and make America great. Lee Grant, I understand. Thank you so kindly for your support, Lee Grant, our conservative MAGA extraordinaire who's going to vote for Kamala Harris. You know, here's the deal, guys. We know Lee Grant. Lee Grant is going to say all this stuff here, and I know he's going to crawl into that voting booth. He's going to look around left and right, and he's going to see that none of his MAGA brothers and sisters are looking, not realizing that his MAGA brothers and sisters are going to do the same thing. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to vote for Kamala Harris. The only one in the House here, the only two people in the House here that's not going to vote for Kamala Harris is Eric Hayes and Mike Cisak. But my other MAGA brothers and sisters are going to be voting for Kamala. And then they're going to come back to the chat and they're going to complain. But I still love them all, including Eric and Cisak. Love you guys. Anyway, Paul Fleming says jobs are up. I tell you what, let me go ahead and do that right now. Let me go ahead and play the jobs report, and I'm writing a blog for that as well. Here is that. Lee Grant says, I'll be voting for Trump, but thanks. Lee, I still have 32 days to convince you, brother, and I'll intend to do it in 32 days. So don't go early vote yet. All right, here we go. I think it's here. Here we go. Where is it? Where is it? Here you are. Here you are. I told you so. Well, the jobs reports are out, or the jobs report is out. And the economy created 254,000 jobs. They thought it was going to create 150,000 jobs. And by the way, the past 2 months have been up. They actually had to upgrade what they said by 72,000 jobs. So again, in 3 months, we've got over, what is that? Several, again, in the last month, 254,000, 150,000 plus 72,000 plus another 100 and something thousand, a whole bunch of employment. The guy has created 16 million jobs since he came. Most jobs ever created under one administration. Some are going to say that some of that is from the ramp up from the pandemic, which is true. But most of the jobs now, the amount of jobs created under the 3 and change years of the Biden administration far exceeds what was created under Donald Trump. In fact, Donald Trump is going to go out of office being the first president in actually, I think the century that has left office with less employment than when he came in. And if you discount the pandemic, he's still below par. Still well below par. So now the jobs is out. The market's doing fine. So what did brother Biden come out to do? He said, you know what? I'm going to come out and I'm going to do some bragging. You know why? Because Donald Trump brags about how great his economy was in as much as it wasn't great. But he told people for so long that you had a great economy, And when people remember that the pandemic was so bad, somehow Trump's economy seemed good because they're judging it based on the pandemic and the recovery from the pandemic. But now that the normalization has occurred where democratic policies are effected, we can actually see democratic policies, progressive policies in action. And yes, Biden, unlike many previous democratic policies, for the most part, has started to unlink us from trickle-down economics. Not completely, but he has started the process of unlinking trickle-down economics. That is why the corporations, many have said they don't want to deal with him. And in fact, because Kamala Harris, because she has to, have been making overtures to Wall Street, overtures to the corporatocracy, overtures to the unions. She's been making overtures to everybody, Republicans, independents. She's, in effect, she's trying to be the grand uniter, But Biden just came out there and said, I am going to do much of what the progressives have asked me to do. Not enough, But in a capitalist system that is anathema to anything humane, what he has done was a damn good job, better so than any president, I would say, economically in my lifetime. But anyhow, listen to what he had to say, and we'll take it on the other side.
Today, we got more incredible news. Although the strength of the American economy it's about the strength of the American economy. New jobs report, as you all know, you've been reporting, created 250,000 jobs in September. The expectation was for 150,000 jobs in September, which has far exceeded that number. Not only the previous 2 months the previous 2 months was revised up 75,000 jobs. And from the very beginning, we were told time and again that the policies we were pursuing, we'd put forward weren't going to work, make things worse, including some of the other team are still saying they're going to make things worse. But we've proven them wrong. You know, we've told our we were told our American Rescue Plan was too big and it would crowd out private investment. We proved them wrong. We vaccinated the nation and got immediate economic relief to people in need. When I came to office determined to end trickle-down economics and grow the economy from the middle out and the bottom up. I know you're tired of hearing me say that over and over again, but that was the policy. That remains the policy. Because when you do that, everyone does well. When the middle class grows, the nation's stronger. And the nation's stronger when there's a strong union movement as well. We were told it wouldn't work, but I was also determined to do what was ignored for much too long. Presidents have been authorized since the 30s to be able to spend the money given by Congress to spend the money on hiring American workers and using American product where they were available. And that's what we did. We were told that was going to be a big problem. But all the money I was authorized to spend by the Congress has gone to hiring American workers and using American products. We were told it wasn't going to be. We were told that was going to be a big problem, but it's working. We're also told that our historic laws to invest in America and all Americans would crowd out private sector investment. Well, that was proven wrong, too. We've attracted nearly $1 trillion since we've come to office in private sector investment from domestic and foreign companies investing in America. Not the stuff with shipping jobs overseas for cheaper labor and bringing back a product to America. We're building it here and sending it overseas. And look at the results. Across the board, unemployment is down to 4.1%. And every month that Vice President Harris and I have been in office, we've created jobs every single month. The nation has now created 16 million jobs since I've come to office, more jobs created in a single presidential term than any time in American history. Our GDP shows our economy grew at 10% under my administration. Unemployment reached the lowest level in 50 years. We're also told inflation couldn't come down without massive job losses or sending the economy into economic recession. Once again, outside experts were wrong. Inflation has come down. Wages have gone up faster than prices. Interest rates are down. Record 19 million new business applications have been filed for. The stock market continues to reach new heights. We've got more work to do, though. Keep getting prices down, like more affordable housing, extending what I've done for seniors and lowering prescription drug costs by letting Medicare negotiate the prices, make sure that's available to everyone. And by the way, what we've done so far, just when we brought down the prices for seniors under Medicare, it's saved the taxpayers billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Save the taxpayers billions of dollars. That's important to note because they don't have to pay the exorbitant and irrational prices that these companies are charging. The simple fact is we've gone from economy in crisis to literally having the strongest economy in the world. And but we've got more work to do. We've got more work to do to deal with the things I've just mentioned, and we're going to have to deal with unforeseen cost of what this hurricane is going to cost. It's going to cost a lot of money. And I'm going to probably have to ask the Congress before we leave for more money to deal with some of those problems. But that remains to be seen.
So yes, that's a little victory lap that our president is taking, a well-deserved victory lap. And I hope that all of you that are watching this video, spread it, make people understand that you have to start believing the numbers, the hard data you can read, and discount the bloviating that you're going to hear from Donald Trump. Oh, the markets, he said before Biden was elected, if Biden gets elected, the market is going to crash and we're going to burn. And of course, he left us with a disastrous economy, and still Biden is likely going to leave office with a record stock market. Oh, we're going to start world wars. Of course. I mean, we're going to do all these things, Trump said. And the opposite has always happened. What he has been doing is projecting. And projecting means all the bad things that he has projected onto Kamala, onto Biden, onto everybody else. Those are the results we will get if he is given the opportunity to serve again. So don't make that mistake, America. Don't make that mistake. Because again, it's you who are going to pay. It's not going to be Donald Trump. It's not going to be Kamala Harris. It's not going to be Joe Biden. It's not going to be any of the billionaires. It's not going to be any of the plutocrats. The only person that's going to fail based on a bad vote is you. The only one that's going to fail is you. So yeah. So I mean, let me tell you, folks. So all these guys that expected the economy to crater and all of that, they've been all proven wrong. The stock market continues to go up, which I don't really, you know what I think about the stock market. Employment continues to go up. Inflation continues to come down. The right wing can't take it. How can your policies work? Because it's based on math. Yours is based on an imagination. That trickle-down economics somehow create, as you cut taxes, you create more economic activity so that it covers what the taxes would have cost. It makes it's such a silly, let me tell you, you know those people who like to say that, right? Trickle-down economics, this is what people like to say. They like to say, well, you know, the reason why cutting taxes would work is as you cut taxes, you stimulate economic activity. That is the most insincere and stupid statement one could ever make. Let's take that down the economic road, because that's what they don't normally do. Let's say I cut taxes for person A. The person that's going to get the most out of the taxes that are cut is likely the person who makes more money, a wealthy person. That person won't necessarily put a lot of that money back into the economy. They'll probably save it or invest it. That doesn't generate on its own economic activity. So you will be taking money out of the market to give it to somebody who likely won't spend it, right? So whenever but here's the thing now, when you tax that money, and that money goes, instead of going to the wealthy person, that money goes into the government. Guess what? The government doesn't hold on to money. The government throws that money directly into the economy. As they throw that money into the economy, bridges get built, people get healthcare, which employs doctors and nurses, etc. It buys medicine, etc. As you've used those tax dollars, and you throw it into the economy, you get economic activity. Now, again, there's a balance between taxes and a balance between spending, etc. But don't buy into the fallacy that somehow the corporate sector is more efficient at spending money than the government. I could actually say the opposite. The government knows where there's needs everywhere, right? Like right now, we have needs in North Carolina and Georgia, all of that. The government knows that need right away. When you give a tax cut, which is called supply side, to a rich guy, that rich guy says, I think you people may want me to build a factory. They don't say, let me wait for demand to tell me that I need that factory. They say, I know what you want, right? When we have better distribution of monies, the people who are the consumers tell the makers of those things or what they want. You know why they don't want to tell you these things? Because they want to control it. Think about it. I want you to think about it very well. All right, Paul Fleming says, Cavuto on Fox. Trump was talking about more illegals are accounting for these jobs than anyone else. I don't know where he's getting that. The latest implement report out today, 254 jobs were gained, says nothing about illegals getting those jobs. I mean, again, Trump just lies. And the problem about it is that there are a lot of his own people who have a tendency to believe his lies, to which I say, give him grace. I started my program after Jack Van Bever had some statements to make, and I'm going to play that in a minute. Egberto Willies, anyone who loves our country, has empathy, uses their brain, is able to change their mind when presented with new facts over conspiracy theories, knows damn well Trump is a lying con man, and has been since the 90s. I bet a majority of the country didn't even hear about him till he came down the escalator about spouting lies from the gate. Are those that follow him like a cult, like him because they're like him, a racist, white men, and their ignorant behaved wives. I couldn't have said that any clearer. But anyway, I still want to give our brothers and sisters a bit of grace. I want you to listen to what I said to Jack Van Bever this morning on KPFT 90.1 FM. As usual, my engineer at KPFT 90.1 FM Houston started the program and said a few words that got me into one of my soliloquies, this time on why we need to give a space for MAGA to land. I don't want anybody to think we're being fools here. We understand that those who have programmed MAGA, these are some very evil people, from Donald Trump right back to the Heritage Foundation, right back to all these people that know what they're doing is wrong, but they continue to program those whose minds are susceptible to said indoctrination. So after Jack said a few things that about MAGA, I felt compelled to say the following. Let me give you one thing that's interesting that you brought up, Project 2025. Let me tell you how programmed some of his followers are. We know that J.D. Vance wrote the prologue to the book about Project 2025 that they decided to put on hold till after the election. It was supposed to be released, I believe, in September or August. They put it on hold. J.D. Vance wrote the prologue for the book. Donald Trump went to the Heritage Foundation and said that these are the smart people that are putting the policies together. He did that. Donald Trump did that. And we can go item for item that prove that this guy is very involved. I mean, look, he doesn't read. So as far as reading what's in there, he probably has not even read a couple of pages of the thing. But all the people who are working for him, that is the blueprint that they follow. You know, he's a lazy guy. He does nothing. Now, that said, what he decided when he figured out that Project 2025 was really a dangerous document for his election, he decided to just come and say, I don't have anything to do with it. I don't even know what it is. And I have people on my 3 o'clock chat that every time I bring up Project 2025, they'll say Project 2025 debunked. He had nothing to do with it. I mean, when you have that kind of control over some people's minds, that becomes dangerous. You just mentioned some of your MAGA friends. I have MAGA friends too. A lot of MAGA friends. I live in Kingwood. A lot of folks out here are MAGA, and you sit down and you wonder, okay, fine, it's fine, ideology or whatever it's said. But when you go out there and tell me that they tell you how great the economy was, it shows you another problem in our minds, right? If you hear something enough times, you have a tendency to believe it because it's been repeated over and over and over again. One of the things that people on the correct side of the ideological spectrum doesn't do is point out why the policies that they propose or usually support are the better ones. All those people in North Carolina suffering the hurricane right now. It's progressive policies that's getting money to them, not the austerity policies that cuts programs to people. All those our brothers and sisters in Appalachia that are on, where all the jobs, where the corporatocracy left Appalachia, a beautiful part of our country. Corporations, after they've mined and taken the tops off the hills or the tops off the mountains, and they've used up the resources, or the resources are no longer needed in Appalachia, they left. They didn't say, let's do something for the community that supported us for decades upon decades upon decades. They left. And what's sustaining many of those people out there are the programs that the people who run MAGA, not the MAGA people, but the people who MAGA vote for. They are the ones that are saying, we don't want these programs. So all those programs that these people on the right, the MAGA poor, are dependent on. And by the way, there are a lot more MAGA poor than the rest of America. MAGA exists in Alabama. And I'm talking about in larger percentages. MAGA exists in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, North Dakota, South Dakota, all these other places. Well, Dakotas are different animals, got to get a lot of oil. But these are a lot of poor people that people like Donald Trump take advantage of. They're poor. And the one thing I blame Democrats for is not meeting people where they are. I mean, right here, we tell the truth about MAGA. We talk about it, but at the same time, we give some love. We don't try to say, oh, yeah, you're wrong. I'm sorry. We're not going to tell you you're right. You're absolutely wrong. But we're not going to shut the door ever on you. That's true. But so the bottom line is this, folks. This is not a time to just go ahead and knock on our MAGA brothers and sisters. I mean, there's something in the mind, in the mindset, that makes you predisposed to the things that Trump says. And that occurs on the left too. The only good thing about it on the left side, it is things that are people-centric, not corporate-centric. And I said left. I didn't say neoliberal Democrat. I said left. Big difference. So we have to continue this journey. And we have a big job to do between now and the outcome of the election to ensure that something positive happens in the election, during the elections, after the election. Because eventually MAGA will come home. And I'm hoping that place where they land is not going to be that place where they feel I have nothing to lose, and therefore I go bat crazy. Because when people find out that they've been wronged for a long time and they finally open up and see the light, what happens? There are two different reactions. And that reaction has to do with who's there to support you when you find out that you've been fooled, when you find out that you've been wronged, when you find out that you've been taken advantage of, when you found out that the values that you had were wrong. When I found out that certain values I had was wrong, the good thing about it is I had somewhere to land. A sexist must have somewhere to land. A homophobe must have somewhere to land. A racist must have somewhere to land. You know, we have to give people places to land. Because you know what? If you don't have a place to land, a crash occurs. And guess what? That crash could occur in your neighborhood. And it doesn't matter that you're one of the good guys. If that crash occurs in that neighborhood, a dead person is a dead person is a dead person is a dead person. So don't be fooled, folks. Yes, we need to give these people a place to land. But the one thing we have to do is make sure those people that indoctrinated them, that caused so much pain, that caused the deaths of people on January 6th, that have continuously polluted the minds and created dissension in this country, ultimately, they must pay. And I mean, they must pay dearly, both in embarrassment, and for those who have committed crimes or been responsible for committing crimes, taken out civilly, with civil suits, etc. We have to stop what these guys are doing to destroy this country. Yes, we have to stop what these guys are doing to destroy this country. Hey, you know, on Fox News, you know, they couldn't take it. They couldn't take it because America is going to find out that what's working is what Democrats are doing. I want you to listen to, let me make sure that I have this stuff connected first. Maria Bartiromo. Didn't take long before they went you know what, crazy, right?
Will this easing of inflationary pressures last? My goodness, we have the unemployment.
Hold on, let me see if I can get it a little bigger here. I want to get that for you guys. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, it seemed like I could. It seems like I could. Here we go.
Higher, that usually indicates the nearness of a recession.
Markets are viewing this report as positive. Markets are on fire right now. Dow Industrials up 155, NASDAQ up 152. Cheryl, what are the numbers?
We came in much hotter than expected on the non-farm jobs number. 254,000 wow. jobs were created. The estimate was 140,000. The unemployment rate dropped to 4.1%. We were looking for the rate to actually stay steady from last month at 4.2%. I had just mentioned we were looking for a loss in manufacturing jobs of negative 5,000. We got down 7,000, so more there. Private payrolls, 223. That is also much hotter than expected. We were looking for a number of 125.
CSEC, where are
there.
you?
Average hourly earnings, 0.37%, which is just about in line with the estimates, if you will. Labor force participation, 62.7% on labor force participation as well. And then looking down through some of the other numbers, again, that rate, 4.1%. But the factory jobs number, again, that's the manufacturing, negative 7,000. Government jobs, 31,000 to the upside. We don't get an estimate for government jobs, remember. But again, those hourly earnings and those worker hours, let me give you the average worker hours, 34.2. That's just a tad slightly less than expected. Let me dig into the report here and see what the government is saying about where at least job creation was, in particular because we're getting such a big upside on this number. Yep. Employment trended up in food services, drinking places, healthcare, government, social assistance, and construction. That is the top line report context. I'm going to start going through it, Maria, sending it back to you in the panel for reaction.
We're going to come back to you in a second. Yeah. You know what I read this as? Good news is once again good news. Okay. Dow Industrials up 129, NASDAQ up 131 on a much better than expected jobs report. So why are markets rallying? Because good news is once again good news, as opposed to bad news being good news because it leads to a Federal Reserve interest rate cut. This report is basically abating concerns that the labor market is deteriorating. Joel Schulman, your reaction?
The idea behind this article is that you notice how they're positive. Their data mine is coming in. And what do you think happened after that? They found a way to go and say, the job report isn't really a good report. I'm not going to play that one right now, but it is amazing. You ask a lot of times, why is it that our MAGA folks and conservative folks are so trastornados en la mente? Why are they so confused? Why do they say things that sometimes we sit back and say, huh? What have you been reading? Because these are the people that they trust. And ultimately, that's what they do. It seems like we got a limerick. It's limerick time. Tom, you've been missing in action for a couple of days. I don't know if you've been missing or you've been hiding. I'm not sure which one you've been doing. Because I know sometimes you hide, my brother. But let's go ahead and do our limerick. Tom, all right, let's see. Tom Zarnick's new limerick. I need to stretch it out here so that I can read it correctly. Are you guys ready? Let's go it. Trump and Vance continue to antagonize and demonize immigrants for MAGA minions to traumatize and terrorize. So while there are wars in the Middle East and Ukraine, devastation from Helene, massive hurricane, and dock workers strike economic pain, the New York conman and his hill bully buddy claim they can make America great even if it's bloody. Keep promoting lies and hate, providing no real contribution or solutions for a positive October surprise. Una vez más, mi amigo lo batió fuera del parque. Once again, my brother has knocked it out of the park. All right, let's see what else we got here. Coming down. Michael Rudnin, I saw a little message. Let's see. Egberto, anyway, I read that one already. Before adjustments, the private sector shed 458. Okay, I'm not going to read that because he's taken that completely out of context. Take a look at the report, guys. It's all there. The numbers are all there, right? The numbers are all there. They're trying to put a spin on the numbers. It is there. A job is a job is a job. Oh, madre mía, carajo, pinga, hijo de puta la chucha madre. All right, let's continue here. Para ver. Michael says, watch the conservatives in the chat distance themselves from Project 2025. Even as 140 plus of the writers of Project 2025 came from Trump's administration. And Trump went to the Heritage Foundation, praised them. It's over. You can't not believe he's not behind Project 2025. But I mean, look, the problem is if you're in one of those swing states, the nastiness that you hear about Kamala Harris, oh my God, I'm surprised that her numbers are still up. Because the commercials that Kamala's folks are doing are nothing like the commercials the right wing's doing. The right wing are, they're just about saying she'll eat you. It is amazing. They're just about saying she'll eat you. But anyway, so let's be cool on that, folks. All right, continuing. Let's see. Folks, if you want to call the show, the actual number is 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. All right, let's continue here. Patrick Magner says, when Katrina destroyed New Orleans, Bush famously said he would let the private sector deal with the recovery. I would imagine if another conservative president right now, it would be the same. But you notice that since it's not a conservative guy there, they're now saying FEMA is not doing its job. These guys, I tell you, it's laughable. All right, let's continue here. No, actually, Mike Cisak, you'd become sane. You would become sane if you decided to start critically thinking and move to the right, my dear brother. All right, Bridge MCP said, Tom Zarnick, awesome. TY, yes, it's awesome. All right, I'm scrolling down. Michael Radner says, the thing about conservatives, is that they believe most everyone else thinks like them. And that belief makes them tend towards projection, accusing others of what they themselves are guilty of. When people like Mike C says their opposition are mentally ill, that's him telling on himself again. No, that's him just looking in the mirror. It's called projection. Yes, Melanie, there will be an Ask Egberto Anything tomorrow. And I need to get you the link again. I placed it in there a little bit earlier. Let me go ahead and pick up that link again so that I can make sure people sign up for Ask Egberto Anything. All right, let's continue here. Tom C says, hiding in the shadows. I know, Tom, I kind of figured you were hiding in the shadows. Michael says, Egberto, what have they been reading? 2 minutes of hate. They get lied to. They get angry and afraid of whatever it is they lied about. They never consider that they've been played. And that's what I try to say. And in fact, the accompanying blog that I'm going to write for that piece that I just did will have that in there as well. All right, let's see. Here is the link for Ask Egberto Anything. I hope some of you show up tomorrow. The last times have been pretty scarce. So please consider showing up. All right. Let's see. Paul says he is a grifter. Repost from Midas Touch. Trump's GoFundMe has no mention of a specific charity to which these Hurricane Helene funds will be directed or any plan for how the donations will be distributed. Also, the fundraiser is organized by Trump's National Finance Director and Senior Advisor. Read more about the red flags for this fundraiser, the Midas Plus. Again, the guy's just a crook and he doesn't care. Patrick Magner says Trump is mentioned over 300 times in Project 2025. Of course. Paul Fleming says fact check. Nope. FEMA isn't running out of money to help hurricane victims because they have funds for immigrants. Congress approved $20 billion for FEMA Disaster Relief Fund through December 20th, and those funds are locked in for disaster relief only. All right, let's see what else we got. Thank you for being there. Let's see what else. What else? All right. Hey, EgbertoWillies.com is also a lefty organization, right? And how am I rated again? Highly factual. Bridge MCP said no reason to go to it. Egberto have enough MAGA here to deal with. It's like watching. Oh, Bridge, I love you, girl. You know that. I wish I was in Binghamton, New York, so I could give my Bridge MCP a hug. All right, my dear brother Patrick Magner, talk to me. Oh, don't talk to me yet.
Happy Friday, everybody. I wanted to thank Ray yesterday. I found some what he had to say insightful, and I really liked his one-liner where he said, "It seems their fortune becomes their lover." I wanted to talk about billionaires a little bit more.
Sure,
Scrolling through the comments, class envy was something that kind of I guess caught my attention. I wouldn't be envious of anybody that had an addiction, and that's what billionaires have. I believe that Rockefeller, if you adjust his wealth to today's money, was actually had more money, had more spending capacity than Elon Musk has now, and certainly more than Bezos. And he was famously asked in an interview, how much money is enough for you? His answer was just a little more. And that's what it is to these guys. It's just a little more all the time.
Exactly.
These people actually do need help. What I try and propose and what I have in the back of my mind is some sort of rule that somewhere between $10 and $25 million of today's money, we kind of say that should be enough. And that's what a progressive tax code is.
Yeah. That's why we used to, that's why we used to do 90% of income after a certain level. Because what happens is let me tell you, what I always talk about is the aberration within capitalism. And because the way we talk about growth, etc., it doesn't, mathematical rules say that absent redistribution, it collapses on its own weight. But continue, please, my brother.
Okay. We can do some simple number crunching, and if you have $10 million put away and you're able, and at that level, it's easy to get 7 to 10% returns on any investment. That's $2,750 a day just in interest. And
right.
I like everybody that thinks that putting a limit on wealth is unconstitutional or not right. Well, just ask yourself, do you need more than $3,000 a day? And then we can even say, okay, if 10 million is too drastic, move it up to 25 million without having to lift a finger. You're still bringing in $7,000 a day in interest.
Right.
Any sane person can get by on that. And anybody trying to get more than that, there's something wrong with them.
But, it's actually deeper than, first of all, yeah, you're right. Greed, there's something wrong with them. They're greedy. But it's even deeper than that, Patrick. I think it is actually immoral because nobody really earns billions of dollars. Those are things that you extracted out of the system. You didn't earn it. It's because the way the system was designed allowed you to monopolize capital. If you doubt it, let those who are making a lot less than you stop working for you. At that point, you crater and die. It is the same thing why I say things like, even to partially change the subject, the gold standard is idiotic. Why? You cannot eat gold. The floating dynamic between values, floating dynamic between things, that is how you can really price things, right? But a piece of gold and you say, I'm going to hold my stuff in gold, don't mean a damn thing. And people have to go ahead.
I was going to say, when we check ourselves out the gold standard, currency automatically attached itself to energy. Mm-hmm. You can't produce anything. You can't produce anything without energy. So when you've got money in your wallet, you're looking at the potential of using energy. And so, the gold standard doesn't work. And people think that we're not attaching this dollar to anything. It is intrinsically attached to energy.
Let me stop you a second there. Let me back up a bit. I want to modify what you just said. It attaches itself to anything with value. Because whether it is what the price of a barrel of oil is or the price of something else, it's what am I willing to take for that dollar, right? Because I know I can then buy something else with that dollar. And right now, when you have the big drop in price of oil, you may still get the increase in price in bananas. So it's all a relative floating thing. Money is just a temporary store of something that you have not yet bartered for. You see what I'm saying? In other words, when you have money, all it is a store for something you have not yet bartered for, meaning bananas, coffee, rum, milk, bricks, whatever. And, so tagging it to one particular commodity isn't, so what, anyhow, go ahead, my brother.
Well, we're getting towards the end of your time. I want to leave people with two things to think about. There's several billionaires that could afford a mercenary group in the numbers of 250,000 strong. Mm-hmm. And they can do that at any time, and they can employ them for over 5 years. We've seen in Eastern Europe what a militia group can do, and who's gonna check that? And then another thing to think about too is we've got a mega billionaire whose hobby is to launch rockets into space with the idea of escaping a planet that's dying instead of just trying to help repair it.
Amazing, isn't it? Thank you, Patrick. And look, I appreciate the interest that you and the info that you always bring to the show. And by the way, I do read your emails too, brother. Love them. You do a lot of stuff on the side as well. Thank you very much.
We'll talk about Gates sooner or later.
All right, man. You have a great day, my brother. Take care. All right, folks. We are coming close to the end of the show. Please remember to go ahead and sign up for Ask Egberto Anything. Last time we only had about 5 or 6 people. I would love to get all Ask Egberto with about 30 people in there. So please sign up with Ask Egberto Anything. There's a link that I just placed in there. But we are at the end of the program right now. And what I want to ask all of you is to consider becoming a subscriber to our newsletter. First of all, here we go. I'm going to put that into the list right now. First of all, if you want to get any of those books that you see on the screen, you can go ahead and purchase them at politicsdoneright.com/books. That takes you to our Amazon author page. But you can also support us by becoming a paid member of our newsletter. And how can you do that? Just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And please become, again, a coffee from quite a few hundred people would kind of put us where we need to be. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm running through the deadline for this broadcast system. I'm going to need a new broadcast system pretty soon. You guys, we did this about, I guess, 6-7 years ago, 5 years ago, I think it was, if I read the stuff correctly. Our portable system is about, it has already done 4 Netroots Nation. We are going to need another one. So there's a lot of stuff. And what I'm trying to do is starting to build our system up that we can get all these things done. So I ask you kindly to consider supporting us by going to politicsdoneright.com/support. That gives you all the different areas in which you can support the program. But specifically, I would love all of you who have the wherewithal to do so to become paid subscribers of our newsletter. And again, I invest a lot in making sure that stuff comes to you factually. Anyway, I got to get out of here. I want you guys to have a great weekend. Don't forget, Ask Egberto Anything this weekend. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out!
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.